Hello, guys, and it is the Beastie Boys back for you, Stephen Buchanan, who's asking what boy band we're going to quote today. So,
New Kids.
yeah, the Beastie Boys.
That's Mike D.
Yeah, quote those boys.
But Corey Rose is with us today. He is today's special guest. We have B-Rad as normal and someone that looks like Mike. I'm not actually sure it is Mike. Someone a bit more presentable. Someone a bit more presentable than the old Mike here. But Mike is back also, looking well with his new haircut. So, guys, what is new while people are joining? What has been happening?
It's been an interesting week, actually. Corey, have you seen anything funny going on in the SERPs?
Joining
most of my stuff is like national e-commerce stuff, and I've seen a lot of stuff bounce, like just completely disappear and then come back at higher positions. And then I've seen exact match content be like the number one like predictor of how things are starting to rank. Like I'll do the
profiles have changed too, dude. Have you noticed that?
The what?
The link profiles have changed too.
Oh yeah, link profiles. Like I've been paying more attention to the content because I have too many different link profiles and I can't seem to figure out which ones are going to be like I've found the less the is more. But
that's how I build links, to be very clear. Less is more, but Mr. Penguin's sleeping right now is all I'm gonna fucking say. And it's been an interesting week or two. It's been an adventure in different sides of the internet like that I play around in. But we've got some cool stuff going on with Amazon and YouTube. We got some YouTube stuff going on, right, Craig? I don't know.
So the YouTube stuff, we always like a good battle. And you'll see this logo up here, odys.global. And I will place a link in here. Guys, obviously ODSY Global, I don't want to be a sleazy salesman. However, they do help you with H domains. They do help you with done-for-you affiliate projects if you want to invest stuff. And the main purpose of this is just for me to be a bully in terms of driving traffic to ODYS. We have a competition.
He's a cool dude. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, Alex, I mean, they offer a great service and taking nothing away from what they do. I need to beat Dooley. That is the competition. We love a good fight amongst our peers, shall we say. And but in reality, ODYS are a great bunch of guys doing great stuff. And hop on over, odys.global. If you do use the link that I'm just about to share, they do give you $100 to spend if you meet the criteria of signing up. So,
and I will vouch for them. I've been talking to them for a few years now. I get to hang out with them on Skype quite a bit, and they definitely know what they're doing. It's a cool model. Really, if people want to focus on, like what we talk about, Corey, I know you've seen the show, but and you, since we worked in agencies together, you have the same kind of outlook on everything. Is that the business comes first before the cool ninja SEO tricks. So I think they allow you to focus on your business while not having to worry about everything and make life a lot easier if you want to get done and not have to worry about all of the shit that comes with building out certain parts of the campaigns and things. So awesome service. So I definitely recommend them. Have you? I don't know if you've met them. They're good people, and they do a lot of similar stuff to what Brad and I do, the way we do our marketing.
Well, are they? So I'm looking at their site right now, and I don't see anything like particularly for sale. What you just have to jump on their list, and then you start talking with them, and then tell them what you want.
Basically, I don't know how much they want said, but they can handle creating ranking for you essentially. So if you want organic traffic, if you know you have terms that convert and you want organic traffic in a market that they touch, they can kind of turn that shit on right away for you and send traffic your way. So, and it's legitimate.
They've been accused of that in the past, right?
What's that?
They've been accused of that in the past, right? Of doing that or purchasing a company and then all of a sudden search traffic to that company goes through the roof. They kind of need to make it a little less obvious, but yeah.
And it's kind of like that shit with the ODYS Global. It's kind of like, okay, we can turn this on for you. It's not always the case, and not always everywhere, but that's kind of how I would relate it to how I understand. And I've actually looked at becoming a client of theirs in the past for NFG and everything, and for our for Planet Tree for our agency, because they can make life a little bit easier. So I definitely check it out. If you're building a campaign, if you're doing e-commerce, you're doing something where you want to focus on a certain part of your business, check out ODYS and see what they're doing. So enough of that for now. We wanted to talk about content, and it's cool. Corey brought up content because I didn't tell him what we were going to talk about today, but he's been focusing on content, and we're going to start a series of content weeks, I would say, call them weeks. And so Corey, you said you've been noticing when you say exact content, are you talking about the exact phrases, or what do you mean when you say the exact content?
So I'm saying if I'm going for a particular phrase, let's say something gets like 1,000 searches a month, and let's say how to lose weight with a keto diet, that's the title of the content that I'll use. That is also, I won't even mix it up in the URL, and the URL will be like how to lose weight with keto.
So main points.
So it's everything. So everything is top left. The keywords, that is the keyword. It's just the actual title itself.
Now I get why you asked me about mass page, sucker. No.
Yeah. So that's it. And then obviously, get the optimal content in there. But a lot of times I won't even. I'll throw some questions on there that some of the PAA stuff inside the body. I found that actually works for ranking better than having a separate target that you just do internal linking back to the money page with. I'll just throw the questions right in the body of the content, and that seems to help push it a lot more than just having a bunch of new targets out there right now anyway.
Yeah, I agree that to me, the lexiconical stuffing, I think that it's interesting because I haven't switched up my titles yet, but have you switched up anything existing? Or are you talking about what you're building new right now with the exact match title and the URL right now?
Yeah, I have only done, I haven't changed, with titles. I switched up titles probably 6 months ago to some of my stuff wasn't, in client stuff, the main keyword wasn't top left, but it was a longer title. So I just moved up the title. I didn't touch URL, but the newer stuff that I've done that is particularly just the actual exact match query for the title, and then the URL, that stuff is soaking pretty good. Okay.
And in your health space, because I'm seeing something similar in some of the health spaces, are you seeing that in your health spaces as well?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right.
Yeah, so, nutraceuticals and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Now, the optimization points that you've been looking at, are you looking at just the title and the URL, or are you looking at the headers and doing something there, or just letting that kind of pull your supporting your lexiconical stuffing type stuff?
Well, that's the thing is with the headers, I don't get too in depth with that. I just let whatever the content writers put up there as the headers, I just go ahead and use it. I don't even really look twice at it. Because they're naturally writing stuff, and it's not.
I was going to say that's the most natural way to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that it naturally pulls out. I talk about cognitive. We all talk about cognitive SEO a lot. I think that letting the writers do that naturally pulls out the types of lists that you get out of tools that do a good job of pulling lexiconical type terms and LSI and shit like that. So I think that's a very easy, cost-effective way for people to do it if they're starting out. So all of you that are new out there. If you don't have the tools that you hear people talk about, you might be able to handle it. Like if you don't have the keyword research tool, it's not hard to pull out 15 terms, main terms that you might want to focus on for a product or a service that you have, and then actually let your writers just write those articles for you instead of having
exactly.
keyword tool, right? So there's a way to save your $20, $50 a month if you're just starting doing this shit.
Also, looking up FAQ in whatever industry you're in.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
Yeah, and or even like the query itself is going to have its own FAQ. Like Google's just dropping their shorts and showing you exactly what they're looking for in that PAA box. So I grabbed like 3 or 4 of those that look pretty relevant to the content, and I'll have the content writers just in their own words, 150 words, answer to each question, and then keep those questions up. You know, I usually start it with the questions. Yeah, like the answers.
Yeah, that's how you're going to pop for the knowledge panel type stuff.
Yeah,
or the snippet. Yeah.
And I'm seeing the same thing. I don't want to see people writing a page for each one of those questions. I think that those PAA questions that are popping on the query are exactly what you want for that. If you're doing your content map that we talk about, you're doing your link map. That's the kind of shit you want to pull out and make your anchors. The anchors that you touch internally and externally, I think, need to come from the same area as well, or pulling it from a cognitive type tool. But your internals, are you capping yourself in supports and primaries right now, or are you just kind of going with what the market dictates for each market?
Yeah, I have found that like some markets do like really well, like some e-commerce that's not in the health niche. I'll build out just a really intentional virtual silo structure for all of those, and that works really good. And some of those I will break out the PAA stuff that people also ask, and then just link it back to the box. But then so I don't hammer the money page or the main like query that I'm going for, like that main page. I won't hammer that with links. Maybe one, but then I will do some people also ask content around that, and then link like 3 or 4 of those, and then I'll shoot links at these and that in e-commerce right now, and it has been that way for a long time.
Yeah, it's just like Marco was talking about a few weeks ago. His what did he call it? Worry-free ranking. I can't remember what one called it. Yeah. What's that? POFU. Yeah, I wanted to say golden ring, but I don't like that term. But
I like the golden ring, dude. I know it kind of freaks me out where it came from, but it's that's not what I mean, Craig. It's not a shower, bro. I do like the idea of that golden frame, that golden ring.
Exactly.
So when we're talking about PAA, what's funny is I'm looking at a query right now, and they're freaking showing 3 position zeros, right? 3 FAQ snippets on a single damn page. So what's the most seen on a page, dude? Because literally the whole freaking front page is gone. It's 3 freaking results, and it's just FAQ, 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 dude. And have you seen that out there in the wild? Because I'm starting to see it a hell of a lot more, dude.
I've seen 2, but I haven't seen the whole page just eaten up by it. Are there ads on those queries, Mike?
Let me see what we got here. There is no ad set on this query whatsoever.
How about images?
Nope. Only the thumbnail for the FAQ.
Gotcha.
So I don't know.
That must be like really research based, and
it is a very info based query. It is definitely there's no commercial intent on it whatsoever. There's no way to confuse it with any sort of commercial or navigational intent. So
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But it's interesting because I was reading an article. I don't know if it was Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land, or somewhere else, and no, it was Entrepreneur actually is where it came from, and it was SEO is dead, and it started talking about how they saw 70% of their traffic drop off of their organic queries, and their SEO said, well, that's because the front page of the search changed, and of course SEO is not dead. Let me say that right now, because for the person who has that first 0 position right there, where that traffic dropped off for everyone else, guess how much more traffic they're getting now, right?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's if your SEO sucks, SEO is dead.
Also, if you're not implementing a organic strategy as well, organic is a really good way around. If you're going national or local, you can switch it up, go for the other, and get that much more traffic.
Yeah.
So
one interesting point to that is on that position 0. I had a client who actually got penalized back in Medic. What was it, March or whatever, 2019. So she went from like 250 uniques a day down to about 50. And then so I started implementing that. This was one. So it's a medical kind of device. And I just had the content writer. She's super good. She's got like her master's. She's a college professor. So I will say that on some of the stuff you need to come out of pocket for some really good content. But so I had her start writing, and then she would just do all the internal link. And I said, these are the only 2 pages that I really care about that you should link to when you're talking about certain things. But everything else, just look what she's got on the website. And so it's been all natural. And so she went from 50 uniques a day to now she's up a little bit over 10,000 uniques a day, and crushing it. But it's content and images. So the way that we started implementing the images for her has played a huge role in actually how the content gets picked up and like for those
the
snippets.
imagery is extremely important. And I know we've had conversations and people in the audience that keep popping off out there have had conversations with as well. Imagery is a huge thing, and it's a very easy way to pull yourself in front of larger brands. I've found, at least in our campaigns, that using images will allow you to outrank some of the larger brands that you're in the market with. We've done it with sites like NerdWallet in financial spaces, being able to take their search from them. And
excellent.
When you say the content to go with quality content, I want to point out for everybody out there that that's just not the copy. When Corey says content, he means the copy, the imagery, he means everything that's going in there, the markup even, because FAQ, like I'm not a big schema type of dude, but FAQ, like there's markup out there that if you aren't using you are giving that space away to your competition. And so you need to know your space, because I've got spaces where that's not an issue. I've also got other spaces where that becomes a huge issue. If I don't have the right markup, then I'm not going to pull those positions, and I'm not going to get traffic. So SEO is a super strategic thing. It's not just about knowing the tricks and the on page and all the ninja shit. It's looking in the research. The research is extremely important. And when it comes to content, like we're talking about today, it gets even more important. And so, Corey, when you start out your campaigns, do you start by doing anything like content mapping or link mapping, anything like that when you're building a new site for someone? What's your process? At the beginning.
The whole thing is content mapped. So link mapping, I don't really pay that much attention to, at least not in the beginning. It's all content. And another aspect of this is repurposing the content. So you have a content piece well written, it's engaging. I mean, everybody in the world is walking around with a freaking phone, and the promise of this thing was to connect me with somebody else on the other side of this thing. But you go to restaurants, you go to the beach, you go anywhere else, and you see people in front of other people who they should be connected with, and they're all staring at the palm. I mean, besides COVID, if somebody from the 90s was to time travel up to like today, they'd feel like they were in the Twilight Zone, because everybody's just doing this. People sitting at restaurants, families, like the kids are all staring at the palm, hoping to connect with somebody right here. So the brands that are able to actually connect with somebody in a meaningful way using the phone, in what I'm specifically referring to is you have that content piece written. You're familiar with it, or you present it to a client gets familiar with it. What I have them do is they look at the content, they pull out their phone, they put it in front of their face, and they're just like, hey, so this is so-and-so, founder of XYZ, and today I'm going to tell you about this, and this, and they go through it, they talk about it, 3-4 minute YouTube video, they post it directly up to YouTube, they put a link to the actual post in the description of the YouTube video, that they embed that back in the post itself, so that obviously helps with getting it indexed quicker, but then people stick around longer. It has a higher engagement. So the clients, if you're doing client work, that is a really huge way to help them to get some skin in the game. It also, it can help to, just let them know, hey, we have some price breaks here based on, a variety of budget allocations. We'll cut X, a certain portion of, we'll cut the price down if you're able to do this work right here. And that just gets them involved in the project. They get their hands in the clay. They fall back in love with their brand. And you're helping them to position to do things like, Mike, what you did with NerdWallet is, or beating out NerdWallet is you're doing things that the behemoths in any industry they're nowhere near doing anything like that. So the brands that are going to make it.
The interesting thing is they have these campaigns, they have these budgets, but unfortunately, when you get into this corporate SEO, they are forgetting a lot of the core basics. I don't know. Have you ever heard anyone here? Ever heard of the peak end rule? There's a book called The Power of Moments by Chip Heath, and he writes with another dude that's really good too. And the peak end rule is that people remember the peak of it and they remember the end of it, right? So in the content and the copy, like you're saying, we've got this phone up here, everyone's looking at that, beginning to come into play, but not as much as the peak or the end, right? So in the content, when you're writing through this, you need to be looking to create a peak moment for these people when they're reading the content, and then the end has to finish out very, very strongly. So while you're optimizing the content for these rankings, you can leverage that psychology with the imagery, with the way the copy's written, and literally these small little rules and tweaks to know with your psychology while you're putting the optimization in. It does help with conversion. It's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't think I've read anything on marketing with it, but the psychology is sound.
It's what you're describing is really similar to the ClickFunnels. What's his name? Russell. All of his stuff, hook, story, offer. You hook them in with the headline, you tell a story, you keep them engaged, and then you make an offer. If you can do that within your copy, then you're solid. And you're engaging people. And just like what Corey was talking about, it's like the Gary V strategy. You're putting all your crap out there, you're engaging people, you're getting people fired up, and you're sending them back to your core content. So
and part of engaging them is, people are looking for something because they're trying to solve a problem in their life. If you're willing to be the voice who's going to dive into their nightmare, you're a mom who's looking for help with a kid who needs rehab, a company that has wasted thousands of dollars and years on crappy SEO. When you're ready to dive into their nightmare and point out exactly what they're going through, and then offer them a solution, like you said, Brad, like you take them through that.
I'll be with you every step of the way.
That's right.
Fair enough.
So that's fair enough.
But it's true. But and then you take those concepts and you expand that funnel into. We've talked about cloaking. We've talked about mass page, right? We've talked about these types of things, and we've used them in our campaigns where. If we're looking at what the pain points are, we're looking at the questions that are out there that people have, we're using that clickbait. Well, now you can take that and turn that into a network structure where you're creating individual websites that are answering these key aspects, pulling the traffic in, firing your targeting pixel through the content ranking with these external sites. And now you are creating a sphere, a golden frame, if you will, of sites that are satellite around your main brand that are actually exposing the brand. And so now that you can fire that retargeting pixel off of the main site on the satellite sites, you're actually able to follow them. Like Brad said, you'll be with them every step of the way because you're everywhere that they are going to be. And when you're doing that right in like a 3-tiered network structure, something like that, you have a second tier that can be individualized brand. In e-commerce, for example, BigCommerce allows you to use the headless technology, the API, so that you can put up thousands of storefronts from the same database. So you can put up your main brand at the top, and then you can throw up, say, 10 individual brands. Take each category that you have at the top on the main brand, create its own storefront down below through the same API, same database. They're coming in, they can shop there, shop at the top, but they're also being targeted at the bottom they're sharing, they could share this individualized brand, but at that point, when someone comes from the Facebook stuff, hits the individualized storefront, the pixel's firing for the main storefront. And now you're actually able to brand through social media, touch them literally everywhere you need to touch them. And don't say anything about that. Content is extremely important. The way you structure it, and this is why we wanted to get into it here, is because when Corey talks about the title and URL, like, so focus on that title and URL. Take advantage of the optimization you can, but then start thinking about, well, okay, so if I'm doing a main brand and say I'm doing network stuff, I've got 10 brands down here. Well, now I can take a piece from, say you have 5 categories, you have 2 sites for each category below the top main brand. Well, now you can take a snippet from 2 sites, write an extra 200 words, and you have an individual article that only was 200 words, but it's a full article on the main brand. So you can curate inside of that golden frame to create the content on that main brand, have quality content, solve the problem for them. And that also leads into the next question, which is creating content on a mashup style. What major brands? What are some major brands that you read, Corey? Like any websites that you visit out there that you pay attention to that might be publisher type sites?
No, it's more. It's just in the research that I do, like in different markets. It's more smaller brands that are really crushing it.
Do you see them do roundups and mashups on their sites? Like, will they do the top 10 articles about this topic and talk about individual shit?
100, yeah. So they'll do that, and like one of the things about content that a lot of people kind of leave out is that, like, okay, if I get certain keywords in there, I get the title right, I get some of this other stuff right, I'm going to do pretty good. Not necessarily the case. A lot of them, you can't do it in just 1,000 words. Like Google's looking for 2,000 or 3,000 words. So there's some content creators that write for some of the websites that I look, like every freaking blog post they put out is 3,000 plus words. But as soon as they launch that thing, it's like it's ranking for 1,000 keywords.
Right.
So and they're doing that, like it's a top 10 list. Obviously things that have numbers in them get higher click through. So there's going to be an element of clickbait. But I think kind of to your point and what Brad was talking about earlier is, we know all this about content, but conversion is going to be probably more of a factor. I think it actually is more of a factor now than it was a year ago. Yeah. So conversion rate optimization is super important, and there's some things that you can do within Google Tag Manager to tell Google when a conversion has happened on the website. So if you can have a visitor,
microtransactions, micro conversion, micro moments,
micro moments. They scroll past, an image shows up. So there's all these, conversions you can count before anybody has realized that they've even been converted, right? They scroll a little bit. There's tons of them that you can do in Google Tag Manager. You get those things set up so Google's saying, well, this thing is converting really well. This is a goal that the creator had in mind, and users are doing what is the expected goal was. So that influences obviously ranking. So conversion rate optimization is as important as what you do with that content. And I like what you said, Mike, when you started off about that peak and then how you ended. I think that's it's so obvious, but that was well stated.
Thank you. It's interesting because I don't see anyone talking about how important email is for SEO, how important all this other shit is for SEO, because I'm telling you, I've seen, and they state they read email. They state they read your email. Google does see email. They do see what that content is. They see those clicks. They see everything because of Chrome, right? They see everything because of safe browsing, because of Google API fonts and shit like that, right? So people forget that everything that you're doing around this brand literally can show Google what is being done right for the main site. And there's people that I know that they write a daily post, they put it up on their site, they send a daily email. That email is maybe 400, 500, 600,000 words. It links to 5, 6, 7 different freaking articles on the website. The traffic comes through it. I click through that shit because I'm researching. I want to read it. I want to learn more about this topic. and that is SEO. The way people need to be looking at SEO going forward. I think people focus on. I love link building. I always love link building. I love content optimization, but SEO is so much more than just those 3 core or 4 core technical on page, off page, and whatever, you know. So it's so much more than that now because of what you're talking about with the micro moments. You can control those micro moments, and I know I've seen your 0 bounce rate fucking websites, dude. Like I know what you do. And when you look at the technology that's available, when you optimize the content properly, you have an opportunity to be extremely transparent, which is the key that, you know, we've all been talking about for the last fucking 6-7 years. You know, Marco and I had a conversation before ROS came out of that conversation, and that was all about transparency on the first level and then getting dirty and black hat at the bottom right down there. So you've got a basement, you've got a foundation, and you've got a house, you know. So it's absolutely, I think the toolbox needs to be expanded by everyone from beginner to advanced. I think even in advanced cases, people start to lose sight of the SEO aspect. I think you go from the start of SEO, I'm doing SEO, then I'm here in the middle, I'm doing kind of everything, and then I'm this digital marketer, and I've lost sight of the cohesiveness of absolutely everything that digital marketing is, because everything you do in the marketing process is going to affect your SEO at this point in time. It's not a
100%.
separate beast anymore. It's all the same thing at this point.
And to one of the things that I think I picked up from you somewhere along the way, Mike, was you know, when and Brad, you guys have talked about this since the beginning, but those multiple touch points, like you talk about satellite sites and then the brand itself, but then you know, what we want to do, especially if you're in client, and even if with your own brands, is you want to appear Fortune 500 without actually being Fortune 500. And the way that you do that is that you show up everywhere. You retarget them. You're hitting them up on Facebook. They're visiting a news site, and then there's a display ad for your brand. So you bring that brand sentiment up to a maximum, 8 to 10 impressions over the course of a couple weeks. And then now you're the only one that you've gone from short-term to long-term memory.
You're staying
now they want to do
mind. Yeah,
exactly. So you're just taking that same audience that you had, and you're retargeting like and this is what I pitch to clients all the time is, instead of going after a keyword that costs $25, $30 or $100 in competing with all your other competitors on that, why not get back in front of your original audience for pennies on the dollar, across Google's display network, and they click on that, and you might pay like 80, 90 cents or $1.20, but it's a lot less, and it's people that are already familiar with your brand.
Well, and on that note, Brad, how many campaigns back in, this is maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that, when we were doing Amazon and mass page for people and doing retargeting. So the concept is, if we have, say we have 1,000 sites underneath a main brand, right? And this main brand is e-commerce, and then it's multi-channel. It's on Amazon and everything else. But we had focuses on Amazon. So the concept is, if they visit a site in your network that is on red apples and your site's on fruits, and you at this point, you can pixel and target that person because it visited a site on red apples, and now you're advertising for the main brand and the red apple category, because you know that they're now researching your red apples, right? They're researching red apples. So wherever they are in the browsing or in the searching and the sales funnel, they are looking at red apples on an external site. And now you can show them an offer on the main brand for the client for red apples, right? And in these cases, a lot of the times,
and then they wonder, hey, my phone's listening to me, I swear.
Yeah, exactly. They wonder how that happens, right?
That's what happens. This is how we've been marketing for years, and we might own the 1,000 sites that are down below, and the client might be buying the traffic, or they might be paying on performance, or they might be paying for a contract, or they might own those sites. We've done it in both ways, right? But the concept is, no matter what it is, down on this bottom level, the content is what's extremely important, and the way that content flows together and it relates to each other. So not just from, you take that concept and you look at, like, we're doing retargeting, but now also we're doing link building We're also now advertising with banner ads on the lower level for the main level. So like this is why everything ties together. Everything is SEO, digital marketing, SEO, pay-per-click, whatever. You know, when you said the display network, when Google was paying for Firefox installs, they were paying $1 for Firefox installs. 2007, I did like 70,000 installs that year, and I paid 5 cents on the content network for every click. And I converted one. I was at 50%. 1 and 2 was converted. It cost me 10 cents to make a buck all year long for that site, right? So it still works. Arbitrage still works, and you have so many ways to get that set up. You have all the different retargeting companies, the display networks, and getting back to those micro moments. Those little micro conversions can also help you now rank your website, right? And they can make your content more perform better as well. So
if you're telling Google what to watch out for, Google's not going to give you any kind of conversion, even if somebody legit converts, becomes a lead, buys something. Google has no idea unless you've already told them this is the action I'm anticipating for somebody to take. So you got to get familiar with Tag Manager, other tools and analytics. If you're running ads, you got to tie those two things together.
Ad Skills is good for anyone that, and I'm not, associated with them at all, but Ad Skills is a good place to go and learn that stuff. Any of the PPC type stuff, if you want to check it out. Or if any of you guys have a better resource. I've just been through the Ad Skills stuff. So yeah, anyone looking for that type of stuff, it's not my expertise. So I have to go out and find people that do it. So they're good.
What kind of training do they have for the new people out there? Like, is it just
it's everything. Well, they have the conversion tracking. They have, if you want to do YouTube ads, Facebook ads, AdWords, GDN, which is Google Display Network, any of that stuff, anything PPC, pay-per-click type stuff, is what they do. Trey told me about them back in the day. So
maybe we can talk Corey into doing some PPC training for people.
Because he doesn't have any training out there.
When we started the agency together, he took it pretty high, pretty fast. It was a lot of fun. So I got off. I have these questions I wanted to ask you, Corey, but I'm all into content right now. So I'm going to get back to.
Hey, Mike, you brought up something, and this will be something different that I don't see a bunch of people talk about. You said we've done, these same contracts or these same build outs in multiple ways. In your opinion, which would you rather do? Would you rather own the assets and essentially rent them to them? Not a rank and rent where you're ranking it and you're going out and you're asking someone to rent it from you. It's not a traditional rank and rent, but owning the assets as long as they're paying for them versus you build the assets and they own them and you hope that they keep paying you. Which would you prefer?
I am going to say, based on experience, it depends on that client and the market.
Yeah.
It's what I'm going to say. Because I can think of many campaigns right now where I would rather just build the sites and sell it to those fuckers and be done with it, right?
Sure.
Then I can think of other campaigns where I'm like, damn, I wish I had ownership of that. So
yeah, if it's something that I'm already in, or at least it's a cohesive niche, then I'd rather own them. But otherwise, I'll build it out for them and throw it over to them.
It's nice to sell it. If you don't have a way to make more money with it, there's no reason to have that relationship and suffer with the client provider relationship if you don't have to.
Oh, I'm making money.
Are you selling those? Like, are you selling those just flat fee, or are you doing a monthly?
We have done. We've done both. We've done a 6-month ramp up too, where they own them. They're paying us per month, and then after the 6 months, then we get paid to maintain them as long as they want to. Okay. And then if they ever cancel it, we just don't maintain them. Which in
they're gone anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right? In a content distribution setup like a CDN, what are they going to do when we turn that switch off? It's whenever they're tired of paying for it, then they don't. I mean, they own all these websites, but they don't know what the fuck to do with them.
They can't distribute the traffic properly. Yeah. There's a lot that people can't do just because they have the websites. Doesn't mean they know how to move the traffic around the internet. They don't.
And they get burned. Then they're burned anyways, right? After that,
they are, and that's why you make it very clear up front. Like, look, this is what's going to happen. This is what we provide. And when you spell it out, it turns into, like, the biggest one I think that paid for the longest time turned into 5 years of. Was it 5 or 4 years in
4.5, somewhere around there? Yeah,
5 years of just getting paid every month to basically be there, dude. I mean, so when you structure
building a big portion, it was that campaign went in multiple phases. So we had the build out phase, which was first 6 months. Then we had the maintenance phase that dropped to, I think it was what, $50K a month starting out. Then it dropped to 25K in 6 months. Yeah. And then after a while, all we had to do was link build. We didn't really have to maintain the network at that point. Then it dropped to like 15 a month or somewhere in that ballpark. And then they unfortunately were an industry that got hit hard by COVID. Like they furloughed some of their top guys since either late March, early April, with no end in sight. We've had a few of them reach out to us.
That sucks, man.
So that's the only reason we lost them, because they're brick and mortar. You know, they've got physical locations that were, you know, how many physical locations?
2 million a week to 9.8 million a week, dude.
Yeah, so, yeah, all in.
Jeez.
That was all analytics based. So their conversions were off the freaking charts, you know, when we had it all set up. So, but those campaigns are fun. So, but that was you know, an interesting campaign that, you know, we learned a lot on.
Learned a lot on that campaign. Also, more about dealing with corporations, which is always fun when they employ more attorneys than the law firms.
I'm actually. Everyone know Stephen Kang in here from SEO Signal Club? I started reading one of his recommendations. It's like the success formula, and it sucks because the very first thing it said was, in order to be successful, you have to know how to network. I was like, fuck me. I was like, all I wanted to do is sit here and just like build GMBs or, you know, build these satellite sites and everything. But I guess I better network. But you brought up corporate. You have to have an in. So start networking with as many people as you can. If you've got an agency that you want to sell like enterprise level solutions to, just know as many people as possible. And like we've said with the ads, be top of mind. So.
And you gotta have the confidence. You gotta be able to sit in the boardroom with the dude that everyone's scared of at the corporation and not be scared of it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Golden shovel.
Yeah, golden shovel, golden ring. And
he's
even
got
with,
a case with a gold shovel in it, dude. Like, no joke. He's got a golden fucking shovel in this case in the boardroom. And Brad's just doing his thing. He's like, and one day I'm gonna have my own golden shovel, or however he said it. The dude
I want an office with Fox News with a golden shovel in the corner. He's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool, you know? And he's sitting in that exact boardroom. And Fox News is like playing, you know, on the big screen and shit. So it's funny. Yeah, humor does go a long way with those guys. Like, it's stuffy. Like, you get them in there and they've got their suits on, and like just small cracks. Like when we were pitching GC originally, Mike, you know, I would try and, you know, make small jokes. You see them kind of crack a smile every once in a while. You're like, all right, I got them, you know, and then they start to loosen up. Then you can, you know, get to the drinks, and, you know, at that point you've got it, you know.
Exactly. I mean, it's a process and it works. You want to plan that out when you're doing those types of high level sales where you're flying to different states and you're sitting down with board members and owners and CEOs, everything. This can be 2-3 days of sitting there with them, you know, like you're not just sitting there for an hour, dude. You're sitting there and they're watching your ass the whole fucking time, and they're judging you the whole time, dude. So if you get there, you need to really kind of pay attention to how you present yourself and be confident about it. But
I know I have to tell jokes because my demeanor seems like I'm going to freaking kill someone. So
everyone,
if I'm not cracking jokes or doing something like that, then they're like, I need to call security because this guy is going to throw me through the table or out the window.
It's true. It's we've almost been ejected before. We've had people run out of the bar. That's for sure.
That's because she asked to see my PayPal account.
You did ask to see the PayPal account, and then she ran away. That was kind of funny, actually, dude.
She ran out of
so, Corey, on the content topic, what do you consider cross-linking, or what do you call? How are you doing your internal structure at this point?
So it depends. Like if I let the content writers, and again, this is always it's always a little bit of a dance, because, you know, if you let a content writer who's familiar with writing content go ahead and do the
I do not do steroids, but I look like I do. So I've got the steroid face.
Face.
But sites, I think as long as you're doing some really solid internal linking that makes sense, where you're not just hammering away. I've used, so here's one. I used inlinks, and every time there's an occurrence of a particular keyword, you can tell inlinks to link to that page. So let's say if it's like corporate coaching, every time that's mentioned anywhere on the website, inlinks is going to go grab that, and they're going to link to that page. So I've tried that, like the exact match, Wikipedia style. Anytime a phrase is mentioned, you're linking to that page. That page has got all kinds of true internal page rank. It would seem, but then those things they disappear out of the SERPs.
They do, because you're not Wikipedia.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember when Robert came to us and that was his plan with one of those big sites that they had bought? Yeah, he's like, we're going to throw this on there. And have you ever heard of Scrapebox? We've heard we can do link building with that. I was like, oh, fuck, no.
They said they were thinking of doing it, then we realized they fucking did.
They had fucking done it, yes. We're
no.
thinking of doing this. What do you think? I'm like, do not do it. They're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, you didn't do it, did you? No, we didn't do it. I'm like, I can look this up. No, we didn't do it. I looked at Ahrefs. I'm like,
some shit they just freaking scrape by.
Blog comments. These are relevant.
But yeah, the Wikipedia thing, I mean, straight up, dude, if you're not Wikipedia, it's not a great idea. Like, there's some shit going with link profiles, but still going to say that's not a good idea to do. So are you using, like, the way I do, when I say link maps, I'm taking the same thing I use for my content maps, the same lists of terms. It's basically something I'll pull straight out of COG. And then that's the kind of list I would use in inlinks. Like, what are you doing with inlinks right there?
Well, so inlinks, I don't use inlinks anymore, but for the, I coach my content writers up, and I tell them I don't want to see any of the exact same terms used ever across the website linking to this page. It can be just remotely related. So anything that kind of has to do with it, you can hit like an H1 or an H2, or look at something on the body of that content and use that as an anchor. And then
you can also use general stuff like guide and stuff like that and include in the same sentence the keyword. So check out this hair growth guide, and then you just hyperlink guide, but hair growth is right there.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
You mentioned nutraceuticals earlier.
I read your guide, Brad.
Yeah, how'd it work for you?
Dude,
Mike did it too. Look at that head of hair.
It's because I wear a hat. I have good hair because I wear a hat. And
most people I know that wear a hat do not have good hair. I don't know if it's causation or what.
Yeah. Right. Well, here's the thing too. So like, I don't like giving them a list. I don't like giving content writers a list. Here's links you can link with, because then it screws with their writing. However, it's very easy to what I've done in the past, and you can do it both ways, is teach them how to just drop a keyword in something like COG and just pull it out, see if they've already written it, and if it's in there, put it in there, or just throw them a list right after they write the article. And that's not, I'm not recommending people do it, but that does work, and it has worked for me in the past. However, you could just give them a list from the beginning, like Corey said.
Well, and to your point, Mike, what I'll do is, like, if there is one page that I really want to have that one ranking like that, I want this page to have the page rank for all of these other related articles, like pointing at that. I'll go to SEMrush and grab a bunch of keywords that it's already ranking for, up to like in the top, top 20 positions. And I'll just grab one of those. And let's say it's got like 100 of them. It's unlimited supply for the content that's going to go into a website that's going to be linking to that page. So you figure out what Google thinks the page is about, link to it a couple times from, some completely just random stuff that you're like, I wasn't planning on this 20 volume a month query, but let's use it.
That's how I love to see what I'm going to push on new campaigns too. I'll throw it into Ahrefs, SEMrush, whatever you got, and see what's either bottom page 1 or through page 2, and you can, because that's your easy wins. You push those, something up from the top of page 2 to mid page 1, you're going to get more traffic.
And we've done. Speaking of hair loss, we smashed this freaking campaign just by taking what was already written, going and grabbing a COG list, and then just going through and linking existing posts into clusters of 5 freaking articles.
And you didn't update the content?
Not at all, dude.
Wow.
Didn't we
That's a
trained
good
some of their
strategy.
staff to go through it with COG, right?
What's that?
We trained some of their staff to go through it with COG,
We
right?
trained
They did it slowly,
So the new content used the same process, and the old content we had just updated with internal links. I think we had them add a sentence. I think
it was something very small. Yeah, like instead of 5 hair tips, whatever, it would become 7 hair tips. Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
People like 7 more than they like 5.
We were just needing to get the content in there, and yes, they did.
Yeah, I got you.
You got everything in 7. I was pitching some guy one time. I was like $9.97. He's like, "What? Why don't you just say 1,000? $9.97 converts better." Shut the fuck up. Who's the marketer? I didn't say that. But yeah, it works exceptionally well.
Well, I want to keep going, dude. We're almost at the end of this freaking hour already, dude. But
something I wanted to run by you guys for a segment at some point and see what everyone that's listening, comment and tell us if you'd like it and if you would participate. I want to get excuses out of the way because I feel like people are very creative in coming up with excuses. I would like to have us, if we can have enough people post them, and don't be embarrassed because everyone has similar excuses, to post those some show, and we can call it, hurdle point or something like that. Like what's your hurdle? What's in the way? What's keeping you from turning this into a full-time position? Whatever, come up with these many bullshit excuses, throw them at us like dog turds, and then we can kind of like sit there with a baseball bat back at you. I think that
you can explode when you hit them, dude.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. We'll end up looking like you
pulled Grandpa's finger
at the end, like with camo,
So let's put a form together and actually have people drop it in. That way we don't have to worry about comments. Let's do a form, dude, and we'll drop it in either.
Yeah, I'd like to do it like that, have them banked up, and then anyone that wants to come on live and post them in the comments and stuff, I think that would be awesome.
I was going to say that. Craig, what do you think, Brad? What do you think about having somebody that is willing to come on and see if someone's willing to come on and go over something they're doing and try to get them through some roadblocks if they're having any, because I think it'd be helpful.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer to get someone on and help them out, so let's do it.
All right, sounds good. We're going to be doing an over-the-shoulder at NFG, I think, for some of the content stuff that we just talked about and the network stuff, with the plugin that we use to kind of automate the content and link building portion for the entity-based linking. You know what that is, Corey. Craig, you do too. But I don't know if people want to freaking follow along. They can find us on Skype if they want to dig around, but. I think we'll get into the excuses. I want to get into more content as well, because there's some stuff. And also, I've been talking to a couple people. We've been doing some tests with some of the cloaking tech. So we are going to, I think in the next couple of weeks, maybe get into some of the cloaking as well. So I think we'll kind of maybe do some shit that can get creative with
cloaking shit. Once you get into cloaking,
yeah, exactly.
It needs to come with a warning because you're going to like it too much. Like once you start cloaking and stuff like that.
I love cloaking.
Yeah,
it's awesome. When you can control,
more fun.
When you can control everything about the page, everything about the flow of traffic with distribution systems, things like that, it really starts to open your eyes to what's possible on the web. I
like it because it seems dirty.
Yeah, right. Well, Corey, thank you for coming on, dude. That was freaking awesome, man. Are you doing anything right now, or just working your affiliate stuff and your client, your agencies and stuff, or are you teaching anywhere? Are you doing anything like that, or no? Or do I need to talk you into doing that?
Well, I mean, I've just been pretty much focused on agency stuff. Like throughout the lockdown, I got.
It's Mike that has the fucking chicken. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. No, that's actually.
Corey has a chicken too, dude.
No, that's my ring. That's my ringtone. Sorry.
Oh, really?
No, just kidding. No, it's not. I got my daughter. My daughter. My daughter got chicken. So yeah, agency stuff. I built a brand with the kids that were working, and that's been a lot of fun. We got tons of product over here, but since we're on lockdown, I'm like, shoot, the kids need something to do. One who's been talking about getting chickens. We built a chicken coop right here in our freaking densely populated California neighborhood. So
hey, did you move?
No, dude, no. Like we got chickens here now. The one that you hear is in the garage. It's being disciplined right now. That's why.
Don't choke it. Don't choke it.
Dude, I was cutting the weeds this morning, dude, and putting in new trees, and I found 6 eggs in a clutch just outside of the dirty little.
Are they chicken eggs?
Yeah, they're good though. They had to have been the last 2-3 days. I don't refrigerate them anyways. I keep them.
I think I'm gonna get some gators and eat gator eggs. I think that.
Those are good. Yeah, but yeah, that homeschooling.
Freaking American.
Welcome to America. Yeah.
Psycho.
American.
An hour prior to coming on here, all that me and Brad had in the group chat that we've got was Mike sending fucking pictures of chicken and God knows what else he was fucking doing.
I can't even find the fucking the link to join here. Yeah.
Chickens.
That's Big Red.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you everybody for your time. Get your freaking questions together and start shooting them out because we are going to drop a form probably next week, I think, to see what roadblocks you have, and we're going to try to get some of you to come on here and see if we can help you out.
I try and answer as many that come through, like as we're on here, but sometimes we get caught up in everything else and don't get to answer them. So I would like a show completely dedicated to that. We're going to call them excuses. Bring your excuses. What's holding you back? Excuses is kind of the rough term.
Excuses like assholes.
Is a nicer term. What's that?
And they all stink.
Assholes, dude.
Yeah. And Mike's is like about nose level to mine. So
yeah. We'll bring you back on sometime, and that was fun, dude.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it was an honor and a joy, and hello to everybody who's out there. Hope you guys are doing good in the COVID lockdown and stuff. And right now, I'll just throw this in. Like now is your opportunity to dig in, like start a new business, connect with your clients. Explode. Just like do things that everybody else is afraid to do. Right? Everybody's afraid to move right now. Do whatever you have to do to get comfortable. I think that's a good one right there, Brad. Is like I know for me. That would have been a big excuse for me, was just like, okay, I'm freaked out right now. My excuse is I don't have enough guns. So I'm going to stop working and I'm going to go, strap up and there we go.
Oh, what kind of guns are you talking about? that one would beat mine. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Send me that box, Corey.
Hey, I was going to, Mike, do you have one of these, Mike?
I do, brother. I do.
with the flashlight and the laser.
Right over there, I got some. Actually, I'm getting a green laser flashlight because I don't have a green one and I need a daylight laser. So.
Do you have a red one?
Yeah. I'm gonna move to Ireland, Craig.
Guys, listen. I'm not fucking around here, but is that a real gun?
Yeah,
that was a real gun. Yeah.
Fuck me.
Here, hold on.
This Craig is called the Glock 17. It's a 9mm. I don't have any bullets in it right now, but yeah.
I love gun, but the best we can get is like the fucking shitty water pistol in the UK. We're not allowed that shit, man. And I know Mike's a big fan of guns. It's madness. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guns and chickens in America.
America. That's right.
America.
Burn
it's
America.
On that note, it's America. I'm going to go work and try to make some money.
Good luck.
Right? No doubt.
But hey, I'll try to get you one of these, Craig. It's my fidget spinner. You just
don't ask how it got in Ireland though. Which it was.
Yeah, no, send me that shit, man. I'd love one of them. Yeah.
I carry a Glock 17 as my everyday carry.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I don't know where that question came from.
Everything SEO, Blake. It all meshes together.
Yeah, all of it. Honestly, all of it.
Get your on page right. Get your CTR optimization right, and then let that carry you as far as you can. Ride that wave, and then if you need to start linking, link. So there you go.
And do more content.
You know what,
related.
Blake? That's a good one. Honestly, like if you have, I'd like to bring people on that are trying to do certain things and freaking go over it and look at the campaign. So,
yeah. And I really, assume it would be roof replacement in a city. You don't need to rank nationally for roof replacement.
Yep. And that's when I would be like, don't be blogging. There's certain things that I would say. I could go into it right now, but we're over time. So if you really do have that question, man, contact Craig or Brad or whatever, and let's get something together and we can look at the campaign and maybe do that live or something sometime.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Do that as well.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. Cool. But shoot that fucking chicken, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna wring its neck like Mike does.
Yeah,
man. But yeah, on that note, guys, before we get thrown off of fucking YouTube and bans,
SEO turns into guns and chickens.
Yeah, Guns and Chickens is a great SEO show. But yeah, thank you everyone.
Dude, just laying eggs because they talk a lot when they lay, dude.
And she's getting ready to drop her first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just
she's holding it in. I'd be angry too.
She's a bit constipated. I don't know.
Shoot it.
She's laughing as well.
She got in trouble because she bit my daughter, so she like threw her in this little box and
a hot box. That's how you do it in San Diego.
She was like, "You're going inside," so she locked her in the garage.
Freaking Moana over there.
You put the live, put the feed, dude.
We got to get off this call before it's not a path we don't need to.
Oh, man. Craig's torturing me here, dude.
Yeah. You cut that off, right?
ODYS Global.
ODYS Global. And thank you very much.